Graham, good to see you again. No midweek game for you this week. How have you looked to use this week?
A little bit of recovery, obviously, for the players, but we've still got 10 games in front of us to prepare for. So, we didn't need to come off them too much because they're fit guys in a good place physically and mentally. But obviously, we didn't have to beat them over the stick physically this week because of what they've done over the last 7 or 8 weeks. So they had Monday off, train Tuesday, train again today. So we're back into the groove of it. It was a little bit, I think it's the first time I've used more than one sheet for a training session. It's been so basic really this period. But we've had a good training session, just sort of revisited a few points tactically about what we need to do over the next few weeks to try and win some more games.
Yeah, has it given you that opportunity to maybe just go into a certain area in a bit more detail because you have that time? Yeah,
definitely. I think we needed to do a little bit in our offensive shape and individual stuff, individual position profiles about what we do as an attacking team, because I think defensively we've been very strong. I feel we haven't fulfilled our potential as an attacking team at the moment, and there's a little bit because we've rotated the team and had to, either on protecting players or because of what they've put into the previous game. We've had to do that, and sometimes it can break a rhythm of a player. So and because we didn't have time in between the games, it was very difficult to have the training time. So this week we've sort of concentrated on that a little bit because we feel we can get better.
And can that be a benefit maybe to some of the players that arrived in January, just because of how many midweeks you've had since that window?
Yeah, especially because the majority of those guys are in the forward areas anyway. So they've been thrust straight into a fixture schedule that's quite hectic, and we haven't, apart from the game analysis, we haven't had that much time to work them on training pitch. So we have focused on those positions and certainly on those players to give them the best chance of understanding. They have an understanding of our game because of obviously watching and playing. But I think being able to practice that every day and every week, I think it's a vital part of any player's learning process. So we've tried to do that and keep the sort of edge on us physically, because we're going to have to work exceptionally hard in all the games, so we can't come off it too much.
I wanted to ask you about Tommy specifically. Good handful of games under his belt now, and obviously a forward player, not only judged by his goals, brings a lot more to the team in that forward line, of course, but has found himself in some really, really good areas, just hasn't got that first goal. Is it a case of getting that first one and maybe just getting him settled into that side of things?
Yeah, I believe so. I had a chat with Tommy yesterday because I think, I know there's definitely more to come from him, but it's been difficult for him. He's played as the left 10, right 10, the 9, then been out the team. So it's, he hasn't managed, or we haven't given him the sort of run of games in one particular position to sort of get into the rhythm of things, I would say. So I had a good chat with him yesterday. We spoke about how we can help each other, how he can help himself, because that's important, that every player understands that they can invest in their career, not just the coaches. But we know he's got really good attributes that we know will come to the fore for us over a significant amount of time. But obviously right now, we like him to start scoring straight away. But he has had some good opportunities. I think he's hit some good shots that have been saved. I think the keeper made a good save of him last week. He was in the first half, but he was unlucky with the lob in the second half. So it's one of those. But this is what goal scorers will go through a little bit. And we've had other players go through these spells. So he shouldn't put himself under too much pressure just because he's a new player to us, that he has to, hit the ground sort of ripping everything up. He's got time on his side to show his full value to us.
Just to go back to that point about having more time with a lack of midweek game, does it also offer you the opportunity to be more reflective in your analysis of the previous game as well, giving yourself that chance to look at Gillingham maybe in a bit more detail?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Well, it has done, because I woke up Sunday morning, I wasn't preparing for the next game, in 48 hours time. So it did give me a chance, and the coaching staff, to sort of look a little bit, not just on the Gillingham game, but over the piece really, about what we've done well, what we feel we can improve on, and that sort of set the topic really for this week of what we want to improve as a team, and individual sort of feedback as well. But 100% it was the case. But I didn't want to just focus on one particular game. I think we have to look at the group of games of what we've consistently done reasonably well, and what we've consistently tried to improve, and then try and take that work into the next 10 games. So it's hopefully it'll be valuable time for us all, coaching staff, players, but we'll try and use it wisely.
We've spoken to you a lot in that run of games about mentality and how you approach each one game by game, and I guess now it's that nice round number of 10 games remaining of this season, and we've just been speaking to Jamie about, in his experience, the level approach that you have to maintain with one game at a time, and maybe how some of the more senior players maybe need to remind some of the younger players who've not been in that situation before, with this running ahead of you and where you are in the table, about sticking to that cliche of one game at a time. Just how important is that for you, really?
Yeah, I think it's the only way we've progressed through the season. We haven't looked at blocks of games. I mean, sorry, I'll take that back. We did it this period because we knew what the schedule was like, and we just thought we had to look ahead. Whereas now there's time in between, so we can take each game in its on an individual basis, not have to maybe think about the next game and pick the team accordingly because of what we've got coming up, and maybe we can just go for each game, which we tend to do before. But we never even during this period when we were playing every 3 games, we never spoke to the players about the next game or anything. We only spoke to them about that. But obviously as coaching staff, we had to sort of look ahead a little bit. But I think the experienced players will know. I think Jamie has been through this sort of period a couple of seasons ago with Bradford. So has Richie, so has Brad. I think there's lots of experience throughout the squad, and I think we need to focus on the next game. That is it. It's so the only way you can do that is just talk about the next game, and not even, what I mean. That's it. Focus on the next game, train towards the next game, talk about the next game, and that is it. And don't let anything come into your focus that shouldn't really be there. And that's either a game that's after Saturdays, or what any opponent are doing. It's irrelevant to us. We cannot control it. We can't, so we don't. We shouldn't focus on it. It's but it's difficult. I get it. And there's a discipline in ourselves when we're away from each other to not have that quiet moment of having a sneaky peek or this, that, the other. I think we have to have that discipline within ourselves just to bring ourselves back in line and focus on the next game. Is
it more difficult to manage that side of things when you haven't got them in the building as much, because you've had about 6 or 7 weeks worth of Saturday, Tuesday, just to remind them of that message?
I think the games that we've just been through, I think there was no time really to look too far ahead, so it was like game. Yeah. So now when you've got those days, I think this is a time where you might wonder, and maybe yesterday when other teams are playing, we're not. So I was tucked up in bed asleep before the games finished last night, so I didn't see any results till this morning, and that's it. But I would do that every week anyway, through the season. I think we have to. I think the players have been in a consistently positive and controlled state of mind for a long time. Not getting too excited, not getting too down when we get beat. And I think it will hold us in good stead going into this period, because 10 games is a lot of games. So we're nowhere near the finishing line, if we look at it really. But we understand that other people might think that.
On the numbers front, are you close to welcoming anybody back that's been on the sidelines?
Kieran Kelly's training with us yesterday and today, so that's good. I think Callum Johnson's obviously he was on the bench anyway last week, but he's trained this week. Tyreek Wright is obviously he came off the bench last week, so he's continued to train this week, and he's now got his own bespoke mask, so it's a little bit easier for him and more comfortable for him to wear. So that's a positive step forward. I'm not sure if anyone else has rejoined the training group yet. I think there's a couple of lads out on the grass, but not with us. But that could be a considerable amount of time on the grass before they come back with us. So I think it's roughly the same squad as we had last week.
How close is Bobby?
Yeah, he's not out on the grass. So he's one that's I've just spoken to him there. Actually, he's frustrated, as we all are, because it's just one of these things. I think it might be to do, I could be wrong, but it might be to do with his first full season. Lots of games, the toughness of it, training every single day. I think young players have to go through a period where their body sort of adjusts to what first team professional football is like. I know he's had last season as well exposed to it, but maybe not the same games programme as in exposure. So maybe it's just a little bit of that's caught with him. But yeah, he's extremely frustrated at the moment because it's almost like a non-injury. It's not like from a tackle or like a muscle. It's just sort of come on gradually. So, but as quickly as it came on, hopefully that'll be the same as it goes away.
And a similar question for Alex, obviously with the illness, the situation that he's had. What's the kind of time frame on him?
Well, we had a time frame with Gabe Wadsworth because Gabe had this injury or this illness, appendicitis, early in the season, and he missed, I think, between 4 and 5 weeks. So, but each individual can heal differently and stuff. But Pato's out, jogging on the training pitch at the moment, not with us, but with a medical team, and I've just spoke to him as well, and he said he feels really reasonably positive and comfortable. So, I think it's just a case of just seeing how he progresses each day, without taking to a point where it sets himself back. But I've not got that much experience of having players having their appendix out, to be honest, so I don't know the sort of, the progress that he should be making, to be honest. And
just finally, on a word on Tranmere, obviously themselves battling it out at the other end of the table, but they've had some decent results of late with a change of manager. It, as we all know, it's never an easy game, is it? It's always going to be a difficult one.
Yeah, and they've picked up some good results recently. Andy Crosby's gone, sort of took over the reins, and maybe a fresh voice. I don't know, but I've always felt they've got good players in their squad. But as we saw last week, every game is extremely competitive. As we get closer and closer to sort of this stage of the season, I think players' minds become a little bit sharper to what the season might turn out like. So it's we just have to make sure we focus and on our best game. I thought last week, we should have took something from the game. I don't think we should have been beat at all, but that's how it can be. But I just felt there was a little bit of rustiness to us. And I say rustiness even though we've been playing. I think we're a little bit disjointed attacking wise. So I think this week I would like to see us a little bit more fluid, a little bit more progressive, and if we can keep that defensive side to our game, and then it gives us the best chance of beating Tranmere.
Best luck, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you think maybe the crowd can help with that on Saturday, that you've got the home crowd, the bigger home crowd behind you, and they can be the 12th man, for a use cliche?
Yeah, I think the crowd are always helping us. So I think I don't see not asking for any more from the players. I'm not asking for any more from the supporters. I think they come and they get behind their team anyway. So I don't see any difference into Saturday's fixture. I think they'll have seen what their team has done for a considerable amount of time. That we're in a good position to compete. And there's an excitement and a buzz around them, so bring that excitement to the stadium. Sort of get behind the boys as they usually do, and we'll see what the result brings. But no, we've been delighted with the backing we've got, home and away, not just at Valley Parade, but certainly away from home as well. With the backing we've had on some mega journeys, and they've really gone all out for us. So. But we enjoy playing at Valley Parade, and it's a great atmosphere, and I'm sure it'll be the same on Saturday.
And on a more general thing, we've seen the interview Dean Windass has given over the last couple of days, and dementia in ex-players is a becoming a real issue that's being mentioned. As a coach now, can you see how football can deal with this and maybe make the game safer?
Yeah, I do, but 100%. If there's things that we can learn from the past, it's important. I think football is, and most places, but certainly my expertise or my experience is football. There's always progression in football, in helping protect players, helping protect supporters, and it's important that continues. But you can't take risk out of everything. We have to understand that, and obviously it's sad to hear of Dean's condition and other players that have had that, from decades of playing football. But it's I think it's a hard one for all sports people, especially physical sport. I think there's an element of risk in all those, certainly contact sports, and I think even if you got, probably we're used to, as ex-players or players, playing from the age of, 10, but certainly from professional over 16, of always understanding there's a risk of injury, that could make it your last game. You play with that all the time, as you play football, and certainly as you get older and you see other maybe teammates, or you've seen that experience happen. So that risk is always there, but you still want to play the sport. So I think there's a balance there, but I think as safe as we can make it without taking what football is, I think it's important everyone looks into it. But we wish Dean all the best. I played a charity game with him last season. He was in great form. Character-wise, in the change room and out on the pitch. So he's one of football's characters. So hopefully his fight against that and goes well.
Cheers.
Okay.
So Graham, obviously that looking on the attacking side, a bit more time to work with that. Is that, considering the players you're out at the moment, you've got a lot of goal scorers and a lot of attacking players missing. Is that sort of that's concerns the right way? Is that the biggest sort of issue for you currently in terms of the squad makeup and the team makeup that's available?
A little bit, because I think if you look at the players that we have available at the moment, I'm not sure how many of them have played 20, 25 games. They're quite. I don't think they've got a lot of games under their belt at the moment. For us or their previous club, obviously the new players that came in. So it's just getting them up to speed with it. We brought them here for a reason, or we've kept people like Jamie, who's been here all season, obviously in previous seasons, but he hasn't been playing week in week out all season. So it's just getting them up to speed about that. About the ideas behind how we play, and I thought there was a little bit off the cuff last week, which was probably 3 or 4 individuals doing their own thing, and we didn't get that connection as a team. And I think our strength is in our connection, both in and out of possession. So I think this week has been valuable to us, just to remind people about how certain movements help other teammates, and how when we're in possession in certain parts, this is what the picture that the players need to see. So, but I think it's just whoever would have been coming into the team at this stage and not having loads of games on their belt, we would have had to do a lot of work with them anyway. So it's just that really. But we've still scored enough goals to win enough games at this stage, and I expect us to continue to do that.
Would you say? And the onus is on these newer players more because there's less options at the moment, isn't it, when you think of the people who aren't around? So these players who sort of getting into the system, getting used to how this team played and how you want them to play.
Yeah.
Suddenly they're having to do it game, rather than perhaps a bit more paced.
But I think they prefer it that way, to be honest, to be in the games and playing. I think there was a frustration when they first came in, because it took them a while to break into the team, because of the form of the other players that were already here, and had put their mark on that shirt. So I think it's just to be expected. But if you ask those players, they take playing and learning by playing the games rather than just being on the sidelines and watching other people do it. So and we brought them here to play, and we brought them here to score goals and create, and that's what they've done in the past. That's what we expect them to do here. So I've got no qualms over their quality to do that. We just need to just shape them a little bit into what we've done and what the rest of the team will provide in that final third, and then they've got to take advantage of it.
Obviously, you're saying about training can be a bit different. You've got a few more notes to go down because you're not so much of a churn. Next game. Yeah. I mean, have you noticed a sort of a different vibe about the training because the players are having a chance to do proper, more sort of extensive sessions and perhaps recovery on to the next ones?
Yeah, a little bit. I think even today, when we stopped the session, 4 or 5 players asking, can we carry on? Can we continue? Can we do more? So I felt that was a good sign that they've sort of got that energy to go again. There was a little bit of frustration that we were stopping the session at that point. So, but we'd planned what we were doing. We'd got what we wanted from the training session. So that energy and that sort of enthusiasm, I love that on the training pitch around the environment. And we'll have that again on Friday, and we've obviously got to take that into the game on Saturday. So that's great for me to see that after the schedule we've had, the players wanting more. That's
withdrawal symptoms a little bit.
Probably, yeah. So that's good though. I think they're enjoying the football. I think they're enjoying training with each other. I think they're enjoying competing against each other and against other teams when we get to match days. And that's all we want to try and create at the club, an environment that they enjoy coming in, but they work hard and they want to continue to work hard. I think that's it's a great place for any coach or manager to be, but certainly for a player to feel that enthusiasm to come in and train and get ready for the weekend. I think it's an energy giver that for other people and for themselves. So, but we have to obviously harness it and take it into the game on Saturday.
You're saying about treating each game on its merits, keeping it the same, not veering away from how you've approached every game.
Yeah.
But in your experience as a player and manager at this time of year, when you're in this sort of situation, is there a different feel around the match day? However much you try and keep it normal, is there a different sort of sense in the air because there's a bit more anticipation, tension? It's all a little bit different.
I think there is, but it's because people talk about it. So like you just saying, you asking the question, and then you said and then went into this stage of the season. So that's how it is, and people will want to talk about the what potentially might happen or potential fixtures, this, that, the other. And I just think it's important that that's going to go on, and we take it for what it is. It's words, it's conversation, it's talk, and talk goes all the way through a whole season. But we have to just bring ourselves back to what we can control and what we can act upon, and the only thing we can do is the next game. So and when we go into that, there will, and as you get further to the season, if you've got something to play for, it does add an edge to the games and so to speak. But I think over the course of the season, we'll have all had many challenges that have been different. And you think about the EFL Trophy semi-final against Birmingham, that was a different feel to it, the fireworks and all that sort of thing. So all these experiences can be added into you, and then you saw the team, how well they played that night. All that sort of got put to the side. I think it took us a little bit of time in the game to get up to that, but that was probably more to do with the opponent. But that didn't impact on our performance, I didn't think at all, or the potential of playing a Wembley final. So I think the players have built up a bank of experience and knowledge, and are using it to navigate difficult challenges week in, week out, and they will be the same week in, week out. There'll still be tough games, but we've had tough games since day one, and we just need to make sure we don't build things up bigger than what they actually are, and just do our best to be successful.
I was going to say, because naturally everything's going to be magnified, isn't it? You score a goal, it's going to be, you concede a goal, it's going to be the end of the world. A win or a defeat, everything's going to seem bigger, and even more so probably because there's a lot of space between these games. You're not we've got another one straight away to replace it.
I get that, and the league has started to take shape, as in the top, middle, and bottom, and so and generally the focus is towards the top end, outside of your club. So it's just natural for it to happen. But I think the more experience you can have of it as players, as staff, as clubs, then it becomes the norm. I wouldn't say this is the norm, but I think we've got enough intelligence in our squad and on our staff to understand what this really is, and it's for me, and I'm sure every player, we would rather be in this position than no pressure, no tension,
just ticking games off.
Just ticking games off. This is, like I spoke about, the the excitement of coming back home, signing for Bradford and playing at Valley Parade, and then you can't shy away from it when it's right in front of you and it's there. It's what you wanted, and we want to be involved in these games at the top end of the table, towards the end of the season. So let's go and enjoy it.
It's like that tunnel vision, isn't it? Really, you just focus on yourself, because the only thing you probably can predict, there's going to be weird results like there were probably last Saturday, sort of thing. But that's it's
weird results. What? And as now,
there was like Walsall lost, Doncaster drew, someone else.
Yeah, I think each week there's games. And honestly, you look at it and go, sometimes I don't know how people are surprised. Because things happen. It's professional football. It's competitive. And I know there's teams that have shown over time that they're better than others, but any one match can go either way. Any one match, I think, and that's I think that's the beauty of football. I think it's why results come, and that's why people love football so much, because there's jeopardy all the time. So we just have to manage all that, and I think the players are, I think the staff are, about understanding what we're about, and we've been beating the same drum since day one of pre-season. We've never changed our message or how we want to play. So when we get to this stage of the season, we've got a way of behaving, a way of communicating, a way of playing that is comfortable for us, and nothing really changes as we go.
Yeah, I know some managers set targets, they play little mind games, but that's something knowing you're a bit, you're just not interested in, are you?
On points and stuff?
Yeah, stuff like that.
3 points? Yeah. That's the target. 3 points, and then that never changes for me. I don't see any. The thing is, in football, wherever you're fighting for the win, it's still 3 points, and everyone's got a motivation for 3 points all the time. So if we can just make that our consistent sort of menu, so to speak, then nothing changes. So no, I never set targets, because I think it can fluctuate behaviour in between. You can be ahead of that schedule and then take a step back and a breather, and vice versa. So I've always listened to people that talk about that, trying to not get the logic, but see if it would work for me. But it's never really ticked a box for me.
Yeah, about touching early players being, adaptable, tactically flexible, and that's what you've got, isn't it? I know you've got 1 or 2 injuries, but you have got.
Well, I didn't. Look, if you carry a 28, 29 man squad, then you're going to have to spread the money you've got a lot of way, and you might not get the quality you need, but if you can get the quality in with less quantity, but then make sure that you get players who can tick off a couple of positions for you, then I think what we've shown in the last 12, 13 games is the ability for one group of players to be able to tick off a lot of games, and come into the team, come out of the team, play in a different position, and still keep the performance high. And that was really a real test of the squad, and I think they came through it with flying colours. So and they're all in a really good place now. Not just 11 and 8. They're all in it. They've all had exposure to playing games and helping us win. And we're going to need them all again for the next 10 games as a bare minimum. So we just have to maintain them and hopefully keep them all as fit as possible.
With what you're achieving this year, a lot of it's down to the culture that you've built from pre-season, that sort of thing. You have little bumps in the road with form, and you really do. You need patience from above, don't you? That's massive, isn't it?
Look, you have an idea of the sort of environment you want to create, not just for me or for the staff, but for the players, and where they feel valued, but they can achieve, they can win, they can be successful. But you need, for me, you need so much support from people around me, people above me, David, Ryan, Stefan, all these guys, especially Ryan, since day one of being here, real tough challenges along the way, but he's understood, because we communicate all the time about what's needed or what we feel is needed, and also having that composure of understanding it's not always going to be rosy. So it's took a lot of work to get to this stage, but there's still plenty more in front of us, and every person in our club needs support from those around them, and I've felt it more than anybody else in the last 16 months or so. So hopefully that will continue. I'm sure it will.
It's building a club, isn't it? Building a playing side.
Yeah, and it's very difficult to do that in modern football. It's to get the time is really difficult. And you have to you have to win enough games for people to believe, but you also have to have that support when you don't win games, because it's such a tough sport. So I feel fortunate that I've had that backing and support up to this point. So we haven't achieved anything yet. It's still right in front of us.